Jason, you want to make a switch? I'm going to introduce you to Jason Keller. He is the outreach specialist for CaptionCall. And while he is switching computers here, going to disconnecting mine here, just pull this out and hooking up his. Okay. Okay. He can use this if he wants to, too. Okay. So, of course, I have a little story about everything. So how many people in the room have a CaptionCall phone? That's a lot of you. Okay. Hands down. How many people have a CaptionCall phone that I installed? See, there's quite a few of you. Yay! I started working for CaptionCall in April of 2011, and I installed phones here in Laguna Woods. This was when CaptionCall was brand new, and I even trained some trainers in San Francisco, and I installed phones in Oregon and Washington, so I did a little traveling for them. And but I left in December of 2014 because I got a really bad hip, and it was really hard sometimes to get down on my hands and knees to install phones, and then I couldn't get up. Yeah, so I had to give that up. Okay, so Jason is here. Okay, let me just grab my stuff and get out of here. So Jason, welcome. Let's hear what's new.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to move that just a little.
Okay. I'm going to move this over here.
Oh, one last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing. I didn't say this. I always say it early on. CaptionCall, not Jason personally, but CaptionCall is a sponsor of the Hearing Well Club, and they actually pay for the captioning that you see every month. So thank you so much for that.
There you go. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Hello. Like Tony said, my name is Jason Keller. I'm an outreach specialist, which is basically a fancy word for saying I am a supervisor for Southern California, from San Diego up to Santa Barbara. Can everyone hear me okay? I usually don't use a microphone. I think one of the reasons they hired me for CaptionCall is because I enunciate pretty well, even without the microphone. So I usually don't use one, so it's a new experience for me. But thank you very much for inviting us, Tony. I am here with our local trainer for Orange County, Caleb Nuila, and he's going to be giving the second part of our presentation. But I was really excited to see how many hands went up with how many CaptionCall users we have. That's phenomenal. So let me ask a question. I was gonna ask how many people have hearing devices, but we have a captive audience. So I guess the main important thing is I'm not a hearing care provider myself, but I will tell you, and any audiologist, hearing care professional will tell you, the importance of wearing your devices every single day. Because it can, if you stop wearing them, it can actually alter the chemistry in your brain. And the more you wear either a hearing aid, a cochlear implant, a neck loop, your brain starts to process information differently, whether you're wearing the devices or whether you're not. The other thing that's very important is I'm telling you things that you already know, but might as well remind you. Your hearing care provider will tell you the importance of maintaining the cleanliness of your devices on a daily basis, making sure that you're cleaning them. On an annual basis, going in for checkups, making sure that your hearing devices are working to their optimal level. Because if they're not working to their optimal level, then what's the point? You're going to get frustrated, you're going to throw them against the wall, they're not going to serve a purpose. So I just say that as a reminder. It's good to keep in mind. I wanted to share with you some interesting facts. Nearly 48 million Americans have some degree of hearing loss. 1 in 3 people, like Tony was saying, are 65 or older. And our demographic for CaptionCall is right around 70 to 75 years of age for our devices. We install phones for all ages. We have children that we install phones for. Hearing loss is not discriminate against age. It's all people that are affected. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, I'll get back to this in a minute, but I have several children, right? They're teenagers, and I don't know if you've seen them, but they always have a headset plugged in. They have little earbuds that they're constantly plugging in to listen to their music, to listen to whatever they're doing. They're constantly plugged in. Hearing loss is an epidemic, and I tell my kids they have to be very wary of wearing those hearing devices because they have perfect hearing right now, and the kids don't realize the damage that they're doing to their ears. They won't realize it for years to come. Hearing loss is an epidemic. All of us at some point will have measurable hearing loss. It may not be as bad for some, but guaranteed at some point when we get up into our later years, we will have hearing loss. Next one on here is the hearing loss is the third most prevalent chronic condition behind arthritis and hypertension in America. That's pretty startling. Yet with all of these facts, which seem like they'd be pretty commonplace, we have people that are hesitating to go get help. Whether it's they're in denial. No, my hearing loss isn't that bad. I hear fine. Maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe they think that it's an embarrassment, like it's a sign that they're getting older because their hearing loss is going, and they don't want to deal with it. So they just don't. So on average, people will wait 7 years before they go for help. And it's kind of absurd. There's no reason for it. We're in the 21st century, 2018. We have so much great technology for the benefit of our hard of hearing community. There's no reason why someone shouldn't do that. And we want to help them do that. This was a great quote. This is a quote from a philosopher named Immanuel Kant. And it's a quote that Helen Keller, no relation by the way, my last name is Keller, but I don't think that I'm related to Helen Keller. But it's a quote that she would say often. Blindness separates people from things. Deafness separates people from people. It's very true. When Helen Keller was asked, she was blind, deaf, and mute, or dumb at the time the term was called. People asked her what was the sense that she regretted not having the most. And, me as a seeing person, I have all my senses work perfectly fine. I thought, well, of course, vision. You can't see, you can't live. But that's actually not true. She said her hearing, she wished for anything that she would be able to hear. Because that's why she quoted this so often. Because, yes, sir.
Is there a charge for that?
Not from us.
Not from you guys?
No. And Magic Jack, the way it works, because I have Magic Jack as well, you pay for it up front. I pay for a 5-year plan, but I don't have any monthly bills or anything. And it's like, cents on the dollar.
I keep getting bills from Magic Jet, and I'm wondering.
Oh, really?
And I don't know whether to pay them or not.
I guess if it's working, is the Magic Jack working?
Yeah.
I don't know why you would be getting bills. I haven't heard of that before. Did you? Yeah, you may have to renew the contract. Because like I said, I set up for 5 years at a time. Maybe your contract has expired, and they want you to re-up, because you pay for years in advance.
Okay, I haven't had it very long.
Okay.
I just want to say something.
Yes.
I have a CaptionCall phone, and I have some other phones too in rooms. And when I'm not on it, and my kids or grandkids call, they say, please, Mom, get on that CaptionCall phone. And I would be willing, I have a computer, but I would be willing to pay the $23 a month because now I can see everything they're saying.
Absolutely.
And when it says unintelligible, most of the time it's their cell phone. And even if I'm on a different phone, I can't hear it.
Okay.
What about people with accents?
Yeah, people with accents, it's going to be the same thing. If our captioning agent can understand that person with the accent, then they can caption. If they can't understand, then it might say inaudible or unintelligible. Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with you requesting your caller to please speak a little slower. Usually if they speak slower, they will speak more distinctly. So slower is better. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone.
And our captioning agents, just so you know, they go through hundreds of hours of training, and they're required to be at 90, before we even put them on the phone when they're first hired, they have to be at minimum a 95% accuracy rate. We maintain our accuracy rate at all levels. And even if you look at your CaptionCall phone that you have now, those of you do, it'll say the captioning agent's ID, because it's telling you who is doing the captioning. If you ever saw something that wasn't captioning and it was blatantly, I mean, we're going to do the best we can, and they do, definitely, trust me. But let's say that it doesn't, and it's like blatantly wrong. You know, we've had a couple of situations where, you know, something was said, it was perceived as a bad word, you know. That might happen occasionally because you have a live agent. Let us know. You know, call CaptionCall support. Not that it's a complaint hotline, but we want to make sure that our captioning is serving the audience that we're there to serve. If it's not accurate, then we don't even belong in the business. Yes, sir.
Wait. Let me bring the microphone. Yes.
It's 5:30 in the morning. Rose calls from the Philippines on Facebook Messenger, and it goes right to my phone without the internet. So how do I get your equipment to cooperate when I get Facebook Messenger on the cell phone?
Well, you have to be using the phone. You're talking about going through Facebook Messenger.
It goes to the computer, it goes to the Apple Watch, it goes to everything.
It has to go to your phone. It has to
Yeah,
go directly to the phone. Just because it shows up on your internet doesn't mean everything that's on your internet goes through your phone.
Right. And let me say this: if you're talking about like cell phone data.
When she calls from the Philippines, it's free.
Okay. This will answer your question, Bruce, as well. You mentioned, is cellular the same thing as internet? Cellular is not the same thing as internet. Cellular is completely separate. So if you have something that were to be routed through your cell phone, like a Bluetooth capability,
No.
that's completely separate.
No data.
Okay.
I traded in my landline for a cell phone or cell system from Verizon. If I were to get one of these, would I be using the same thing?
No, if you turned in your landline, and you only have a cell phone, then you're paying, or are you paying for your own self-service then?
Yes, I'm paying
Okay.
for my home cell. In
Okay.
other words, they give a home cell service as well as...
Sure.
Is it a black box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that internet?
No, it's a landline.
It's a landline.
It works like Uma.
Okay. Yeah, the main thing is we just have to make sure that we can
Well,
have some sort of...
it's not plugged into my not plugged into one of the services. Okay, doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm going to take one more question, then I want to go through a couple more things.
It would work. It works.
Way
all
in the
right.
back. Way in the
Hold
back.
on, I'll be back, Don.
On your contact form, it has a promo code blank. Is it necessary to fill out a promo code?
No.
Code for
No,
you?
you don't need to put the promo code.
No. And if you have a CaptionCall phone now, you do not need to be recertified.
That is correct. And we'll go through that, but when we have you fill out the forms, just tell me, because I want to differentiate between people who are interested for the first time and people that are requesting an upgrade. Just put upgrade on the top of the form. That would be very helpful, because I have to make requests for those. Yeah, I was answering questions. I have some more things I was going to share.
What is the difference between your phone and a CapTel phone?
Very similar. CapTel does a similar service that ours. They have captioning agents. They have phones that display the captioning. The difference is the technology. Our technology is the state of the art in the industry. And Tony said this. I say it, but I'm biased because I work for CaptionCall. But CaptionCall is the state of the art technology in the industry. The lag time, there is a bit of a lag time from when a caller speaks to when the captions appear on the screen. Ours averages between 3 and 5 seconds. Yeah, it can go as low as 2 seconds.
Anybody else have a question here?
But our alternate services, they're a lot slower typically.
I was just about to get one of those services that go, phone services with my landline, the VoIP service, and I want to know if any of them you would recommend over others to work with the caption call.
As far as a phone service?
As far as the VoIP service. I don't know anything about them.
That would be a good question to ask other people in the room. How many people use Vonage? Anybody use Vonage? Anybody use Uma? Uma user over there? Magic Jack? You use Magic Jack? So what do you think of Magic Jack?
I don't understand it too. I have two telephones and 2 telephone numbers, and I don't know. People don't know my Magic Jet at all. I've never gotten a phone call.
So I've had Magic Jack, and when Voice over IP, VoIP first came out, back in 2003, I had Vonage, and I thought their service was great. But Zero is better than what they're offering, so that's why I've got what I've got now. I've had Uma. When I worked for CaptionCall, I had Uma service that they provided for demonstrating. And a lot of people think Uma is really great. You pay $100 for the adapter. You can get it at Costco, Best Buy, whatever. And it hooks up to your internet. And I've heard it has a very low monthly fee, very low, and you can call anywhere in the United States. But so does Vonage, and so does Magic Jack. They're all good services.
Yeah, they're all good services.
I think Magic Jack is probably the least reliable, just from my personal experience.
Yes. Let me. I'll answer more questions towards the end. Let me go through a bit more if I could.
I want to say one more thing.
Yes.
If anybody here is thinking about getting a phone and you don't have one now and you need a certification, close your ears. And you need certification. Where did Ann go? There she is. Okay. So we have an audiologist in the room. And if you would like her to sign your certification form and just turn it into CaptionCall right now or before you leave, then she's willing to do that. So you don't have to go somewhere else and get a certification form. Okay, you can open your ears again.
Thank you. Okay, so good question up in the front. Alex, what is certification? What does that even mean? How do you get certified for one of our phones? Well, the way you do it, that is correct. You have to have what I call certified hearing loss, which is what I have on the screen right now. What is certified hearing loss? All it means is that an audiologist, a hearing instrument specialist. I'm just going through. So let's say you have hearing loss and you want to get our phone. The way you do it is you go to you can be a regular doctor, nurse practitioner, audiologist. You have them sign our professional certification form. That certifies that you have hearing loss. That's all it is. Either you can send it in, or a lot of times they'll even send it on your behalf to us, and that's it. Then we're calling you very shortly thereafter, and we're scheduling an appointment to come set up your phone for you, install it, set it up for you.
No charge.
At no charge. There's not going to be a monthly fee. There's no charge for us.
And you get training too. So you haven't introduced Caleb yet. I guess you were going to do that eventually.
Are we running low on time? Or?
No,
Okay.
no, we're fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's going to do the second part of the
So in other words, if you want this, someone will come and bring the phone and set it up for you and explain whatever you need to know.
That is correct. Yes.
But you have to have a landline phone and internet.
Another question. What if, like, I'm going to watch my grandson be there for a week? Can I bring this phone with me to their house?
Absolutely.
And I mean, they have a computer and everything.
Yeah, as long as you have, once your phone is registered to you as the user, you can take your phone anywhere. We have snowbirds who travel with their phone. You know, they live in Palm Springs, they'll travel out of the area. They take their phone with them. As long as you have internet and you have a phone line, you plug it in.
I don't have internet.
Okay, well, if you did, then you could plug it in.
But she said you can get something for $23.50 or so whatever.
Correct.
If you get something, like whatever you said, does it come off your checking account automatically?
Yes, West Coast will either take it out of your checking account, or if you have a credit or debit card, that's how I pay for it. Yeah.
So at CaptionCall, we really do believe in red carpet service. We don't just, okay, thank you for the form, here's your phone, you do it yourself, we'll send you some instructions. We have one of our trainers, Caleb is our area trainer for Orange County. He will come to your house, he will install the phone for you. He will set the settings on the phone to make sure that you're comfortable with it, do some test calls with you, some training with you. That's why he's called a trainer. We want to make sure that you are comfortable with the phone and you're ready to use it by the time he walks out. But the red carpet service doesn't stop there just because we installed the phone. Yeah, that's great, we're using the phone. What if I have a problem? We continue that further by our customer support. You call our customer support and they're great. They'll walk you through over the phone if you have an issue. We have some customers that they just cannot hear on the phone without their CaptionCall phone. Let's say the CaptionCall phone goes down, but you need that phone. You know, we have, in certain circumstances, we can have our trainer come out and do a personal service call for you if you cannot be helped over the phone. So how do you order a CaptionCall phone? I kind of went through it. I have some sign-in sheets on the table here, and I'll hand them out in a little while. But when you hand in your form, that's probably the easiest. Give me one of the forms, and in turn, I will give you one of our professional certification forms. Those who don't have a phone. If you already have a phone, then you're certified. Like Tony said, one-time certification is all you need. You don't have to be recertified for the new phone. But for someone who doesn't have it, you can turn in the form, and you'll be certified by your hearing care doctor. Yes?
I have a question as far as I do have the caption phone, but
Okay.
you're saying that the older versions do not have the speaker capability. Because I have, that's one thing I miss is having the speaker phone where I'm hands-free. So I use my other phone if I know I'm going to be on a long call with, let's, computer repair or something, or even calling Verizon when I'm on hold a lot.
Yes.
I have the Verizon Home Connect. So I have a land phone, you know, my number.
Perfect.
But I
Yeah.
love the caption phone.
Great.
Just for when just a minute, I have to read the captions. But when I miss a call, you're saying that it has an answer machine.
It does have a built-in answering machine, yes.
But I have Verizon Home Connect, so there's...
Do you have a voicemail through Verizon Home Connect?
Yes,
So-
and I have a passcode.
Very good.
But when I try to retrieve my voice messages on the caption phone, it will not accept my typing in my passcode. It keeps
Okay.
telling me unacceptable.
Yeah, we can, first of all, we can request an upgrade for you to get
Yes,
the phone with the speaker.
I would love to upgrade.
Okay, great. I'll have you fill out one of the forms, just write upgrade at the top. And second part of your question is, for the answer machine, or you have the built-in, the provider voicemail, no problem. Yes?
Is the upgrade only available to the people who are here in the class, or as the audiologist, I have other patients? Is that upgrade available to everyone, or are you just offering that today?
No, you can make people aware of the upgrade. Yes. Yes.
Do I have to turn in my old phone to get the upgrade?
The old CaptionCall phone, you would. We would do a swap. So we would take the old one
don't know
and
where
give you
it
the new
is.
one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that painful for you?
Yeah, it broke and I put it in a safe place. And
Oh, so that's okay. So you don't need it. It's not working. So, and here's something that's easy. Okay, I'm coming. For you to understand, any phone numbers that you have programmed in there will automatically synchronize with the new phone. So anything as far as your phone book is concerned, you won't lose anything.
And I have some questions up here. I'll let you read these to yourselves. Reasons if you need a CaptionCall phone. Most of you can agree with at least one of these. Yes, sir.
I understand the answering machine is a new option. I have an old phone, and I have trouble with the answering machine. Doesn't have to be compatible with the computer. Can I get an upgrade to get a CaptionCall phone with the answering machine?
I would suggest that you do. I think the answer machine, we're getting so many rave reviews from our customers. They're really loving it because they're so used to listening to a message several times to try and grasp it, and they're not getting it. And it's a godsend when we have the answer machine. Oh my gosh, now I can read along with my messages. I love it. And with the answer machine also, it does call screening. So if you have a call that's coming through, you can hear the person leaving the message, and they say, oh, I want to answer that call. No problem. You can interrupt the call by picking up the phone and answering the call in between the message. If you don't, no problem. It'll go to voicemail, and you can listen to the answer machine later. Yes.
Okay. We're going to answer hold on just a second. Anne has to leave in a few minutes. Okay. Is there somebody that wants to get a certification before she leaves? Okay, here we go. So you need to fill out your name and your address in the top part. Okay.
I don't have to leave till 3:30, so we have time. But I want you to know, as long as I see hearing aids on you, I know that we're good for certification. Or a cochlear implant. Okay, that's different. Okay, oops, excuse me. There you go. Question
right.
over here.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Oh, he needs a pen. Oh.
Okay.
So they're asking if there's a different form for the upgrade.
No, what Tony was trying to hand out was...
How about this one for the upgrade?
Guys, I'm having a really hard time.
So this half sheet is what I need from everyone. This is just a sign-in sheet. This says that you want an upgrade. If you can fill this out. If you already have a phone, you don't need the professional certification. Just this half sheet. And I have several of these over here.
Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So we'll hand these out. If you already have a phone, you're going to get a half sheet. If you need a new phone, you're going to get the long sheet. Okay? The half sheet does not need to see me. Only the long sheet needs to see me. Does that make sense? Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes.
This may sound silly, but I was very surprised that live people were taking these messages. Are machines going to come into it, or have you found that machines are not as accurate as live people?
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so the law requires a third-party captioning agent to be involved in the conversation. So whether it's a CapTel or someone else, they all are required, as we are, to have a third-party captioning agent listening to half the conversation. Who knows? It's not up to us to decide if that technology changes. If captioning were 100% or very close to accurate by a computer, who knows? Maybe the FCC would come down and say, okay, you no longer need captioning agents. It's all going to be automated. But I don't think the technology is quite there yet. Because as good as our agents are, they still miss things. But it's more so missed when it's automatic versus a computer. The long sheet? Yes. And I do have some testimonials up here if you'd like to take a look at those. This is
the long one.
The long. Did you need one?
I'm not sure. There's people back there that might need more. It's not me.
No problem.
I already have CaptionCall.
Okay, I was going to go around the room and make sure that everyone has the form that needs it. Yeah, the upgrade paper, the one, once again, that you fill out is the half sheet, and just write upgrade on the top of it.
That's who signed Donna's paper.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
He says I should give this to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're going to give me a half sheet.
and a pen. You need a pen.
I have.
Okay. If anyone needs pens, I have pens up here. Anyone need a pen? Okay. No problem. Okay, now I would like to introduce, without further ado, Caleb. And Caleb is going to give a demonstration for the iPad mobile app. So we've talked about the CaptionCall phone. Now we're going to switch over and transition into the iPad mobile app. I'm going to continue to walk around with these half-sheet forms as well, in case anyone needs them.
How many people have an iPad? Oh, good. Okay. Okay, so now you're going to learn about iPad.
Can I get the telephone number the same as my other new phone? Or do I have to have 2 lines?
I don't know.
No, it has to be the landline. It won't be the same as the cell phone.
You can't change it any way at all, huh?
Not right now. No.
Okay.
Any quick questions while I'm waiting for Caleb? Yes, sir.
He used to have our service, but he canceled it. So he used to have our service, but he canceled it.
Right.
And he got CaptionCall. So after a year, we get rid of the paper.
That's a very good question. You have 3 options. You can use your standalone answer machine, which is just an old school where you could hold up the receiver, but that's the old way we used to do it before. We have the voicemail, which is provider voicemail, like AT&T, Verizon, where you call in and you put a code in. You can set that up on our phone, and it will still caption the messages. But our phone itself, and the voicemail is kind of nice because if you're remote, if you're out and you want to check your voicemail, you can't do that with our answer machine. The answer machine is great because it does what it's designed to do. On the phone itself, it's the answer machine captioning. But the voicemail is just the call-in version with your provider, with your internet provider. Or your phone provider, I mean. Yeah, so it's either or. It's not both. You would do either the built-in answer machine or you would keep your provider voicemail, whatever you feel comfortable with. Yes.
If you have 3 different landline jacks, can you move the phone around?
I'm Caleb, by the way. I'm sure a lot of you probably see me around. Up a bit? Okay. So if you... Yeah, I'm going to answer his question. He had a question about the jack, and if you can move the jack. As a trainer, we do our very best to locate or place the phone where it's best convenient. Now, of course, if the jack is on one side of the room and you want it in the living room, well, we might have a problem. We will do our best to do what we can to relocate the jack, if possible, to the location where you want it. However, we are not phone providers. We can't physically take out a jack, go under the house, or do whatever. You would have to call your phone provider, and then they will go along and then reroute the jack to the location that you would like the phone to be.
My question is, we have 2 stories. We have 3 different telephone jack questions.
Okay.
Okay, if we have the one downstairs and I have the office upstairs, can I unplug it, walk upstairs and plug it in, as long as the line is set? Okay.
Yes, you can.
Could you repeat the question?
The gentleman asked that he has 3 jacks in the house. He has a 3-story house. Each story has a jack in it. He asked if he can move the phone from the, let's say, bottom story and move it to the upstairs story on the same jack, and I said yes.
I have a Bluetooth RJ11 to an RJ11. Can I just use that?
If it has a phone jack on it, yes.
RJ11 to an RJ11, that's all Bluetooth.
Yeah, you should be fine doing that.
So what baud rate do you need?
What?
What baud rate do you need? What's the frequency? What is the limit on the frequency spectrum?
It's whatever you're capable of giving on the device itself. We don't have a limitation. It's whatever you're using is the limitation. So
The question isn't universal. We're waiting to hear your presentation.
that's true. Okay. You have any other questions? Ask me later. All right. So
The iPhone 10 Plus has more stuff than the iPad. Can I just use the iPhone 10 Plus that comes out next year?
if you want, that's up to you. Okay. So sorry for the delay. I'm going to show you, as it shows there, about our iPad and how it functions. Now, you may ask yourself, why do I need an iPad? I don't use a computer. I don't need a computer. I don't have a smartphone. Well, what's great about the iPad is that it acts like a cell phone. You can make and receive phone calls on your iPad and have also live captioning. So you may ask, what kind of iPad do I need so that you can use the Apple application? You need a second generation iPad and newer. Those are the ones that are compatible with our application for the iPad. The best way to know, maybe let's say you have an iPad and you're not 100% sure which one you have, if you have a camera on the front and back of your iPad, that's a second generation, and your iPad will be compatible with our application. So what we're going to do is I'm going to plug in the USB into the projector, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. And we're going to run through a few tests so you can see how it operates. So that's how it looks, kind of what the display shows. You have your D-pad on that side with the green button so you can call out. And you would use this like you would a regular cell phone or even our CaptionCall phone. You will dial your numbers and then press the green button and you will call out. Then the captioning will appear the same way as it does on the CaptionCall phone. The only big difference from the application and the CaptionCall phone is that on the iPad, it's a 1.5 seconds delay. It is quicker than the CaptionCall phone, just by a few seconds. Now, you may ask, well, how am I able to get captioning on my iPad? There's two different ways. Way one is that if you have internet at your home and you have Wi-Fi capability, that means...
Could we have it quiet? Everybody's talking. I'd like to hear you.
Sure. If everybody could quiet down just a tad, be greatly appreciated.
Everybody's talking, so if they could shut up.
I'll try to talk a little louder, but I know we have Corkler.
A little closer.
A little closer? Okay. All right. I don't want to...
hard for me to hear, too. So,
So I'll try to be in the middle. So, as I was mentioning, how are you able to get captioning on the iPad? You need Wi-Fi capability, meaning if you're at your home and you have Wi-Fi there, you can use your Wi-Fi to have captioning on your iPad. The second way is that if you have data on your iPad. What is data? Data is when you go to your provider, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, Metro PCS, whatever, it doesn't matter. If they're providing you with an iPad and they ask you, would you like data or would you like Wi-Fi? If you say, I want data, that means that your iPad is capable of connecting to the internet wherever you are. You do not need to be at a hotspot. You do not need to be connected to a Wi-Fi source. Your iPad is using its own internet to be able to connect so that you have captioning wherever you go. The greatest convenience of the mobile app is the fact that, one, you don't have to be in front of a phone. Two, you can take this anywhere you want as long as you have data or Wi-Fi capability. And three, the captioning is better. This also comes with an answer machine system. So if you're out of the house and you need to pick up a message, and let's say they try to call you at home, they call you at your cell phone, and they're not reaching you, and they left you a message, but you're not getting the messages. Well, then you can ask them, well, call me on my iPad. Your iPad would ring. If you don't answer the iPad, then there will be a message for you on the iPad. And the same service you have with the CaptionCall phone, you'll have captioning capability and whatever volume capability the iPad has, then that's the amplification that you'll get. But of course, when you're using an iPad, you're really using the captioning capability. That's what you're really looking for. And the way that you would get these, of course, you can buy these iPads pretty much anywhere. You can go to Amazon, eBay, Fry's, Best Buy. You don't have to get the newest and greatest. You can get the, as I mentioned, the second generation. And the best way to know that it's a second generation, that there's a camera in the front and there's a camera in the back of the iPad. Those, give or take, are usually cost around $200 to $250 depending on the size. Of course, if you have any other questions about the iPad, you can ask me personally and I can help you with that. Is it has to do with the iPad? Does it have to do with the iPad? Okay, go ahead.
How do you know?
Go ahead.
How do you know if I'm using an iPad mini or an iPhone 10 Plus?
The biggest difference is the MAC. Each device has its own MAC address.
Well, can I disguise that?
No, you
my
cannot.
iPhone?
You cannot. There's no way you can do that unless you know how to program it. You don't.
So the Mac. So I had to homogenize the Mac so it'll think you think I'm an iMac. I had to change the MAC address so you think I'm an iPad mini rather than an iPhone.
You can't. You just can't.
You're not going to be able to trick your iPhone, and you
And
won't
that
be
will-
able to download the software
Right.
if you have an iPhone. It's just
That's fine.
Tony, let's not, Tony, over here. That's not a universal question. We get on with this presentation.
okay.
So, as I showed, you saw the captioning capability. What's another great thing about the iPad is that the contacts that you have on your CaptionCall phone will also translate to your iPad. So any contacts that you add on the iPad or on the CaptionCall phone, they will share that contacts with each other. So let's say, for example, you're at your daughter's house and your grandson has a phone and he says, Grandma, Grandpa, I want you to have my number so I can call you. Well, guess what? If you have our application on your iPad, you can add that phone number, and then you say to yourself, I wish I can add this to my CaptionCall phone because I'm going to forget. Well, guess what? You add it on the iPad, it straight goes into your CaptionCall phone as well. So they're on both platforms.
Can you use the iPad to call out in the same way you'd use the...
That's correct. You can use the iPad to call out, to receive phone calls, and to listen to your messages. Same phone call. Now, to address that, the caption on the iPad is not your house phone number. It's very important to remember that. It is a number that we provide for you. That's what makes this application and the captioning capability free. You don't have to pay for the number. CaptionCall pays for that. So all you need to get is the iPad. We will provide the phone number and the technology as well as the service. The same service you have on the CaptionCall phone, we will also provide that for the iPad. So if you have questions, there's issues with the iPad, it's not working right, captioning is not working right, you just call us, we'll make an appointment. Most likely you'll see me. I'll come on by, look at the iPad and train you in how to use it. Or if you have any questions, of course, answer those questions to the best of my ability.
With the same phone number?
It's not the same phone number.
So if somebody calls you, they have to call a different...
No, that's different. You will have your own personal phone number for the iPad that we will give you. Another great thing, the phone number that we give you will always be displayed on the iPad. So if you ever forget it, you open your iPad and you open the application and the phone number will be visible for you.
Would you set up our iPad at the same time that you set up our caption call?
Yes, sir. The difference, we had a question. They asked, what's the difference from an iPhone and an iPad? What's the big difference from one to the other? The biggest difference is, one, the software is different. It's a different interface. The design is the same, but you have a smaller screen. There's no iPad that's as big as this, or iPhone that's as big as this. This is about 7.5 inches. And there's bigger iPads. There's a iPad that's 10.5 inches. So the reason why you would want the iPad to be bigger, if you have really bad eyesight and you need the letters to be very big, then it would be beneficial to get a bigger iPad. If you don't need a bigger iPad and you have great eyesight, you can get an iPad mini, you can get an iPad Air, it doesn't matter. As long as that it's a second generation and newer, the application will work just fine. Yes.
I have more than one iPad. Can I use it interchangeably?
So great question about that. If you choose to use a different iPad, you just have to log in to your other iPad, and then it will nullify the iPad that it was at and then transfer to the new iPad. I wouldn't suggest it just because you might forget which one you're logged into, and then you end up logging yourself out to all of them. And then, of course, if you need help, you just give us a call. We'll come on out and help you with that. But yes, you can interchange, but it's not always the greatest thing to do that because you might forget which one you're actually on.
Can you make the print larger on the caption call? Because I have a vision problem.
Yes, on the CaptionCall phone, she asked, can you make the print larger? Yes, you can. However, on the iPad, because it uses a bigger screen, when you're using captioning, you can actually go to full screen, as you see there. So it's much easier to see. Of course, there's a smaller limitation on the CaptionCall phone and its screen size, but if you get an iPad, you can decide what kind of size of a screen you want, from a 5.7 all the way up to a 10.5. So it's, again, diameter.
But I have to have the caption call as well.
You don't. You can pick either or. You don't have to have our phone. If you just want the iPad, you get your iPad, and then we'll download the software on there.
So just to be clear, you can have a landline phone and an iPad. You can have both. And one thing that hasn't been covered, if you are going to be ordering internet service because you need that, do not order a router. You will get a modem, and CaptionCall will provide a router at no charge.
What's a router?
A router is like a splitter for the internet, so that more than one device can connect to your internet. So it's like a splitter, just keeping it simple. Anybody else? Ann's leaving.
You need the 2 telephone numbers, right?
Yes. Okay, any certifications? Are we covered?
Yeah, I'm just a little confused here as far as the...
I think we're...
Oh, okay, the router. What if you already have a router?
Yeah, they'll use that. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ann. Okay.
Having
Hmm.
an iPad
Mhm.
is because you can get caption calls on it?
Right. The benefit of having the iPad is that it's mobile. You don't have to be standing next to a phone. You can be anywhere in your house, or if you have data, you can take it anywhere you want to make phone calls.
But I have a cell phone and I tell people to text me.
Right. Not everybody has smartphones, and not everybody knows how or wishes to use smartphones. So, right, like that. And a great thing to mention is the screen is much smaller. So if you have bad eyesight, that's true for you, but other individuals may like a bigger screen, so that might be more beneficial. Right. Are there any other questions about the CaptionCall phone or about the iPad? Oh, absolutely. Your iPad Pro is a 11.5 or actually 10.8 inch screen. So it's huge. Yeah.
So now if we decide we want to get one of those things, what's the procedure?
If you had your form signed by the audiologist, we will collect it, we will send it in for you, and within 2 days we'll give you a call to install your phone.
You know my phone number?
Well, you wrote it down on the form. Yes.
I have a question. Actually, I have 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
One is just to be sure, the CaptionCall phone, you can use your existing landline phone number on, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second question is, roughly how, let me think. There's a person, a real person on the other end of this doing the captioning. How many seconds is a typical, let me see. If somebody's calling me, how long is it between the time I pick up my phone and I can read a caption?
So for the CaptionCall phone, the delay is 2 seconds. The only reason why it would be any longer than 2 seconds would have to do with your internet service. but if you can count 1, 2, it's already appearing. Now, the great thing about the captioning that Jason mentioned, that audiologists probably always tell you is put your hearing aids in, put your hearing aids in, use your hearing aids, don't take them off, keep them in. Now, what's great about the captioning on the phone or on the iPad, it is a training device as well. It allows you to train your mind to associate the proper words to the proper sound. As you all are very aware, when you're talking on the phone, you start guessing when people are talking to you. And you get words mixed up, and you sometimes say something that they didn't say. Well, guess what? With the captioning, you are now able to train your mind to associate the right word with the right sound, and then you start registering that in your mind. Your mind is very intelligent. You're more than capable of learning how to hear sounds again with our caption call capability and our phones, because they're also amplified. So that's another great thing about our phone, is that you are also able to train your mind to hear better. You can actually mentally hear better if you practice, like anything. So hopefully that answers.
Does the iPad have a headphone jack?
So to answer that question, the iPad does have a jack. If you wish to use a headset of some sort, the only requirement that the application needs is that you have the capability of picking up and hanging up phone calls. There's usually a little clicker on the headset that you'll see. It's not the volume, it's a clicker. And it shows the little symbol. And if you're able to click it to pick up phone calls and click it to hang up, that headset will be compatible with the iPad and the captioning.
But you can also turn it on and off at the iPad.
Yes, you can control it from the iPad as well. However, if you want to use the headset, not all headsets have the right diameter of auxiliary connection.
So it's a 3.5.
They differ. Some of them, the newer ones are smaller, but I believe this is about a 3. Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah. Yes?
I have an older mini pad. How will I know what version I have?
As long as your iPad has a camera in the front and a camera in the back, you're okay. Easy.
Okay, we've got another question over here.
Caleb,
Mm-hmm.
I have Oticon OPM on my iPhone,
Right.
and I have the caption call on my iPad.
Right.
My daughter called me the other day, and I didn't have my hearing aids in, and it rang on my iPad.
Right.
She doesn't know the telephone number of my
Right.
How did that happen?
So the way that happens, if you have an iPad and you have an iPhone, when your iPhone is being called, it will transfer the call using iMessenger. iMessenger is Apple's software system to be able to use text messages. So because an Apple product can sync with multiple Apple devices like an iMac, an Apple Watch, an iPad, an iPhone, at any time when you get a phone call from your iPhone, if you have an iPad, that same call will be transferred over to the iPad as well. It's just a cool way that Apple says you can use any Apple device and make phone calls on it.
That's sort of how they make the iPhone, the watch, and iPhone work together.
Right.
Because it's a connection.
The Apple Watch 3 is a phone, cellular phone, all by itself.
That's right.
So will that work?
Yes. It will work the same way. It will still use iMessenger because that still uses iMessenger.
Without the phone, just the watch by itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You won't be able to make phone calls. You'll be alerted. I understand that, but I'm talking about the captioning. I'm not talking about phone calls. I'm talking about the captioning. You'll be able to answer your call, of course, but you won't get captioning because you're not using the caption call application. You're using your Apple Watch and that's the iOS, and that's the iMessenger system.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up.
Oh, sorry.
Well, are we done?
If any other questions,
Just because we have to be out of here by 4 o'clock, and so.
Oh, okay.
So the people who have questions should come on up here.
Yeah, we'll stay after if you haven't had
They'll stay here while my volunteers and I are cleaning up. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone,
Good
for
show.
coming.